Hey, everybody. Hope we're all staying happy and healthy. Uh, one way to keep your mind occupied during this amazing quarantine that we haven't talked too much about is simply sitting around and consuming other people's media. I'm sure we've all been doing plenty of that the last week or so. I have been violently resisting the internet's insistence that I watch Tiger King, mostly just because they're telling me I should. I'm actually kind of looking forward to watching it. I watched Wild Wild Country on Netflix a year or two back. It was another similar kind of documentary about crazy shit going down that just kind of came out of nowhere. I really enjoyed it. That dealt with the Rajneeshi cult, which was prevalent. I think it was back in the 80s, late 80s. I don't remember the time frame. I'm not a very attentive documentary viewer. Anyway, great flick that was. So I'm just gonna break down today and try and watch this Tiger King. I figured I would kind of check back in with my camera here periodically, give thoughts, feedback, etc. Obviously, that's going to be something that's thrilling for you to watch, especially if you've already seen Tiger King. So why don't you check out Tiger King 2 if you haven't already, and you can pause this video now, and I'll be back with some thoughts as I have them. All right, so just finished part 1 of, I think, 3. Pretty crazy so far. Seems like they haven't really gotten into the shit going off the rails yet, but they've done a pretty good job of setting up how insane things are. It makes me want to talk just, hopefully briefly about animal rights in general and, the place of people and animals in the world that we currently have. We have screwed up this world beyond recognition as human beings. I mean, animals have certainly suffered for it, but, we've done everything we can to break the natural order of things on this planet, and sometimes, that is to our benefit, especially in a short-term sense, but it's crazy and irresponsible to think that you're entitled to do whatever you want because you value your lifestyle or intelligence or values more than that of others. And I mean, that certainly applies in between people, but I think as a whole it applies to humanity versus animals and the natural world, There's a point where I think we as a society need to say that even though it is convenient to exploit animals for food and labor and clothing and whatnot, maybe we need to actually use the intelligence that supposedly makes us so superior to animals to come up with some alternatives, because, we base a lot on the idea that a life has value, and there's not a lot to differentiate a human life from a life of a tiger or an elephant or a horse or a cat or a dog or, whatever. And it's something that people, I think, don't think about in a very clear or critical way. I think there's a lot of emotion that goes behind issues like animal rights. I think that there's a lot of animal rights activists that go too extreme, There's people that would put animals above humans. And I just think that there's a middle ground here that we're not seeing, where maybe all life is equal. All that being said, cat people are crazy. Cat people are nuts. If you've ever met someone that owns more than a couple cats, it gets nuts really quick. A lot of these people, I believe, and I've seen in some cases, really don't value human life. They surround themselves with cats because humans have spurned them in some way. I think we're seeing a lot of that in this documentary so far with a lot of these people. Certainly the Joe Exotic character. I think this Carol Baskin probably has some of this too. People, for whatever reason, through trauma or abuse or different scenarios, some people, go through their childhood and end up having a hard time relating to other people, communicating with other people. And oftentimes, we can turn to animals, especially an animal like a cat or a dog. If you show that animal affection, it's going to return that affection, unconditionally in a lot of ways. And that's something that we don't often see from other people. Something that we maybe should consider, when we see people that have gone off the rails. It's not always okay to excuse their behavior, but, people get the way they are in life for a reason. And we don't want to take responsibility for that as individuals, but, we all kind of go along with the society that churns out some pretty messed up individuals pretty regularly. And we want to act like it's some mystery why that happens, but it's not, We're cold, we're callous to each other, and we all support a system that relies on certain people becoming disenfranchised, that relies on certain people being at the bottom rung of the ladder because we need to stand on their shoulders to get ourselves ahead. It's ugly, and it's something that people don't want to talk about and don't want to acknowledge because we're all born into this system, and it doesn't seem like there's a way for it to change. And it certainly doesn't seem like as an individual there's much that a person could do. And those that try to change it are often put at a disadvantage, You don't want to support this system, but you need to eat. You need to make a paycheck, right? It's hard. I think we've got some tough choices ahead of us as a society, if we want to stop this kind of craziness. But then again, we won't have very interesting television to watch, will we? At least not fact-based television. I'd take that trade personally. Okay, I'm going to get back to part 2 here. Just a little rambling from me. And I'll see you guys at the next intermission. Whoa, finished part 2 there. And saying that this Carol Baskin woman who runs the Big Cat Sanctuary potentially fed her former husband to her tigers. This is just getting crazy, guys. And I feel like we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. Yeah, this lady seems like a real psycho. I don't know if I'm supposed to think she's a psycho based on what I've seen, but I definitely do. Just, brief impressions from what I've seen. It's important when you're watching documentaries and such to remember, you're always only being shown a part of the story. And usually the filmmakers have an agenda that they're trying to push, and they're showing you what they think you need to see to jump onto that. This is so crazy, I don't really even know what the agenda is, but, other than trying to get you to watch this horror show unfold, which worked, So good job, Netflix. Wow, yeah. People got to start being good to each other. We got to start trying to focus more on what can unite us than what can pull us apart, because there's a lot of people out there making really bad decisions, and if we just write them all off, it's not going to go well for the human race. All right, gonna finish this up, come back with some final thoughts. Bet you can't wait. Guys, people process grief in different ways, and you never know how you're going to react to losing someone. But that lady definitely killed her husband, right? Like, right? It's in the eyes. It's in the eyes. Woo! This thing is really getting crazy. I didn't realize it was this long. I thought it was only 3 or 4 parts. It's like 7 parts. Wow, that's awesome, because there is a lot of ground you're covering here. But I'm going to take a little break, I think. I think this is good for one reactionary video, and I will revisit the following parts in the next few days and do another update about just how crazy this freaking documentary really is.
Love to hear your thoughts and theories. And hopefully you guys are all staying busy and staying sane. I took some time to do some arts and crafts with my nephew today as well. He had a blast. I had a blast. Took a little walk outside in the ghost town. It's crazy out there, but, you know, we're all adapting. Hope you are too. Love you guys.